I would now like to introduce our first speaker for today, Mr. Ashok Devnampriya. He is the founder director of Kautilya Capital. He is a techno fundamental investor, positional price action trader, GAN practitioner, and an intraday algo trader. He has been a GAN practitioner and working on algo models to be built on GAN methods. He uses price action methods along with GAN levels, positional trading. He is also an algorithmic trader in the Indian derivative market. His robots run automatically without any manual intervention in the intraday setups. Ashok holds a bachelor degree in mechanical engineering from PS Institute of Technology in Bangalore, India, and an MBA in strategic planning from Edinburgh University Business School, United Kingdom. He got his specialization in effective asset management from University of Illinois.
Hello everyone and welcome to this next session of eDECMA 2 2021. We have today with us a speaker who is based in Bangalore, Ashok Devnampriya, and he has been full-time into the market for about 8 years, and out of which more than half of it, in fact the algo term has part of with the retail traders only in the last couple of years, but he has been trading with algos for the last 4-5 years. And he's been doing quite well. And of course, before that also he was in the market, but in the last 4 years he has really almost automated everything. And over to you, Ashok. Welcome, Ashok. And if you can just briefly tell about your journey, and then we can start.
Thank you very much for the nice introduction, AP sir. It's a great pleasure and honor to be a part of the Define 8 Speakers family, with my best wishes towards eDECMA 2021. And AP sir, as you know, I have been a part of both the DECMAs last 2 years, and this is my first DECMA as a speaker, and I feel really proud and honored to be a part of this program today. So I have come to you with an interesting topic, particularly related to price action. So let's move on, sir, and the subsequent slides will explain more detail about
just 1 second before that, if you can just go through your journey, I mean how you started, and then something about your journey in the market.
Yes sir, it's coming up in next few slides, sir.
Okay, fine.
So in fact, the journey of a stock trader is always like this.
Absolutely,
the stock trader keeps thinking about this, but the rest of the world will be in an entirely different planet altogether.
Right. Yeah, perfect.
So ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to my exclusive session for DECMA. So this is Ashok Devnampriya. I have been in the markets for close to 8 years now. I guess AP sir has already given a brief introduction. Coming to the background, I started myself as a techno fundamental investor. I spent almost about 5 years spending significant time on analysis of stocks on the fundamental part. Then I moved into trading way back in 2015. So from 15 to 16, I took 1 year to focus more on automation. I have been an algo trader last 4 years, and then I have been a practitioner of price action, particularly in the positional trading space. Currently, most of our intraday activities happens through algos. We don't do manual trading. However, when it comes to positional and other stories and strategies, we still follow our manual methods. I'm a mechanical engineer, sir, with an MBA from the UK. So spent 15 years in the industry, worked for companies like Toyota, SAP, Tally, and many other multinationals before I jumped into financial markets. So from April 2017, I am a full-time trader. So which means officially I've successfully completed 16 quarters of my life full-time trading. So that's about a quick introduction, sir.
Yeah.
So friends, this is for people who are in this session right now. So I do not have any secret formulas nor any secret strategies, friends. I have reasonable smart systems which are good enough to give a fairly good returns in the long run. They are realistic, they are sustainable, and with a respectable win rate. Most of my systems have a win rate ranging from 30 to 40%. And because of a very good RR, which is around minimum 1.3 that we trade, we are always reasonably profitable. And we believe in systems which do not have more than 30% drawdown. That is our story.
Just 1 second, Ashok. What you said is extremely important. Your success ratio is only 35 to 40%, and that is something which a lot of new traders will not believe, because they think it should be 70 to 80%, maybe 90%. But the main secret behind success is the RR and not the success ratio. That is more important, isn't it?
Absolutely, sir. And people at least take 3 years to realize this simple truth.
Right.
So, sir, statistically, I have been successful on an annual basis. Quarterly, almost 8 out of 10 quarters I make money. On a month on month, my success rate is hardly 50%. So that is my rough performance. I do not want to get into the CAGR part. It is much bigger than 25%. So I think that is outside the scope of the conversation today.
Yeah, absolutely. We are not interested in talking about screenshots and all that.
So I am here today to tell some truths and definitely not here to sell dreams. Okay, so friends, the first and foremost thing is that there are two kinds of traders. One side you have the institutions who are the big sharks. On the other side we have the small traders like you and me. So what are these guys? They are people with a lot of money. They have power to move markets. They can move the price up and down. And most of the times they don't take stop losses because their game is a long-term plan. All they want is liquidity from us. Who feed their liquidity? It is you and me, the retailers, who feed the liquidity. And next is the retail trader, which I call as the innocent lot. It's you and me who wants to make some money from the market. And you all know we can't move the market. For us, stop loss is must because we don't have more money like them. And we can't run our business like Amazon without profits for 10 years. Not possible. You guys can't even run trading for 10 weeks without profit. Even 10 months is something which is impossible to digest. And all of us feed the institutions liquidity. So we will talk about the story of manipulations. And I believe there are two kinds of traders. One is a breakout trader, another is a support resistance trader. And both of them think they are smart. Sir, in fact, according to me, these both traders operate on a different mode. Both of them can make money. Both of them can lose money. Unfortunately, both of them think they are very smart, while in reality, they are not lions and tigers. They are also deers on either ways. So we assume we are a carnivore, but we are not a carnivore. And that's the institution which chases us, which threatens us. So generally what happens? A breakout trader looks for a breakout. There is a resistance and Whenever price goes and touches that resistance and breaks that resistance, a BO trader wants to take a trade.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when he wants the trade, it doesn't break out, it reverses. And here some guy made money. A guy who plays a double top or a double bottom, whom we call it as a support resistance trader, he makes money here. And then
Right.
when the price goes third time, it is a triple bottom according to the traditional thoughts, and the breakout trader is desperately waiting for the breakout to happen. But when he thinks it's time for breakout, it will take a turn. And this is where he takes a logical entry, and he assumes with so much of resistance then comes a genuine breakout. But most of the times what happens, the price drops down.
Take out. Yeah.
So the breakout is a fake out. So whenever this fake out happens officially, a price action trader will jump into the scene. So when a breakout trader fails, a price action trader enters. When a support resistance trader fails, a price action trader enters. And what happens in the support resistance story? Here is a resistance. Now this guy is waiting for this so-called double top and triple top. Unfortunately, the price doesn't even go to the resistance line.
Yeah.
So it forms another minor resistance. And now he thinks he can go and trade that resistance, but it doesn't react there. So now he is in a state of confusion. He thinks, okay, there is a bigger resistance on the top, so I will trade there. Or he will think, I am sorry, this first resistance has failed. I'm not going to trade the second resistance. So now what happens? Price goes and reacts from the first resistance. And now he doesn't trade here. And when price goes upwards to the top, he is already in a state of dilemma. It reacts and it cheats him. In both the conditions, they are looking for a level for them to play. A breakout trader officially wants a clear breakout to enter. Some guys trade breakout based on close, some guys trade breakout based on even breaking a barrier, but nobody wait for retracements. So a price action trader is more like a retracement trader, sir. If you look at the cheetah chases the deer. It doesn't wait for the deer to come. Imagine a tiger. A tiger cannot chase a deer. What it does, it goes to the riverbed, wait on the riverbed for the deer to come and drink water, and that is when it tries to capture the deer, because that is the weakest moment for the deer. So all I'm trying to do is be a tiger and not a cheetah, because I cannot chase it. There is no way I can chase it, is my principle here. The foundation for price action trading is liquidity. So as we all know, market is always moved by market orders and not limit orders. And most of the times the big players trade limit orders. Why? Because they do not want to buy a particular product or a commodity or an asset or a stock at a price that the market offers. Most players want at a predefined price. Today in stock market, there are two parts to trading, sir. One is the strategy, other one is the execution. Today, majority of the people who automate both strategy and execution are called algo traders, okay, who automate everything. However, 90% of trading systems today are automatically executed, which means the execution part is already reached 90% of automation. Strategy part will automatically follow. If you ask me about my view of market, I am of the opinion in the next 10 years, it will be an era where Ashok's robot will be fighting with AP's robot. And AP and Ashok will not be trading intraday anymore, because there are very powerful machine learning algorithms which have arrived, which are intelligent enough to make decisions on their own. So with this kind of a scenario, definitely we will see a holistic change in the market behavior and also our trading behavior. So what I want to say here is liquidity is the key, because institutions want liquidity. When there is no liquidity, institutions create a trap to create liquidity, because a fisherman goes to a sea and catch fish only at a level where there is more fish. Similarly, an institution also would like to trade at a level where there are more retail players participating. So this is the behavior that we spoke about an SR trader, sir. There is a resistance. He wants to trade it at that first resistance, but unfortunately, a second resistance got created and it got cheated. So he is desperate now. He lost the trade. Now what happens? It honors that first thing which he lost it. Why? Because everyone knows he will not take that trade. And then price goes to the next resistance. He gives a small jerk and he thinks, yes, this is working. And the moment he takes a trade, the price goes up. And this is where the idea of retracement comes into play. So we will try to play at a level where a price action trader can play, and 90% of the time price action traders play at a level, sir. So we always trade retracement. We do not chase price. We do not wait for the SR level. We do not wait for the breakout level, because things like yesterday's high, yesterday's low, last week high, last week low, 52-week high, 52-week low, all these places are excellent points for hunting liquidity for the institutions. So it is like these are the places where more fish is there. So the fisherman will come there to catch fish. So ideally that is not the place we should play. We should look for some other place technically. So
yeah, in a way, those levels are something which almost everyone can see.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah. And majority of us, though a retail trader thinks that okay, my strategy is unique, but he doesn't realize his strategy is a subset of all these retail strategies that are available in the planet. So one guy might be trading 30 RSI, one guy is trading 35 RSI, one guy trades 40 RSI. Ultimately, it's all the same. So he need to look for locations where there is more liquidity in nature. We will look for momentum. We will look for possible orders which are already existing and institutions cannot grab, because when they punch big orders, they will not get filling, because their life is all about limit orders. They never trade market orders. And most of the institutions give a range, sir. So they say this is the range at which you need to capture this much of assets. Yeah. And even mutual funds today, they run their execution through automation, through algorithms. So take an example of a volume bar, sir. Today we have 375 minutes in a day, roughly. Yeah, 6 hours, 15 minutes of trading. So if I want to buy tomorrow, let's say I want to buy, for example, 5,000 lots of Reliance. Okay. Suppose if I want to buy that much, what I will do, every minute I punch 10 lots. I will tell my algorithm every minute punch 10 lots, which is nothing but every 6 seconds punch 1 lot. So by tomorrow end of the day, I have already got some 3,750 lots, and none of the retail guys will ever know, because there is no big volume bar.
Right.
Because that whole bloody volume is distributed across every minute. So he will not even know. So that is why many times we say don't trust just volume. Your volume action should be validated by price action.
Correct. Absolutely.
So these execution algorithms today, they cheat retailers more. This never existed 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we never had this intelligence of punching, slicing of orders, punching of orders, cutting of orders, and so on. So this is how the price action guys come in. When SR trader fails, this fellow walks in with his entry and stop loss. Why entry there and stop loss? I will explain in subsequent slides, and he will take a long and he will look forward for a possible trade. The same story holds good with breakout trader. There is a resistance, and now the SR traders model is working, but this guy is not taking a trade because he's a breakout trader. Double top is working, but he is a breakout guy, is waiting for his breakout to happen. So there is a beautiful triple top also, still he doesn't trade. So this is what happens most of the times. And finally, when that breakout comes, the breakout trader thinks, since the resistance was too big, since the resistance was too strong because it touched that point 4 times, the breakout would be super strong. Sir, our principle is opposite to it. Whenever a level is kissed multiple times, we believe it is weakened.
Yeah.
It is like taking a mallet and hitting a wall 100 times. The more you hit the wall, the more weaker it becomes.
Correct.
So four times if it has touched, it has eaten all the orders there. There is nobody to fight you. There is no short orders there to fight you. It has to eventually break. That is our principle. In the traditional thought, they say more resistance means more stronger. No. More resistance is every time a new resistance come, the level is becoming weaker and weaker and weaker. This is the thought process. Whereas once it comes down and break it, after the breakout trader is cheated, that's when the price action trader comes into scene, and he will look forward for a short trade, and then he will take an entry. Now I will try to brief you how I will take a strategy today and try to explain end to end. Before I take that strategy, I need to explain some very basics about the way I approach the charts, and then we will take it forward. In the price action world, there are only two candles for us. The first candle is a bullish candle and second candle is a bearish candle. We all know it because people in DECMA are not amateurs. It's very simple and straightforward. So I'll not waste my time on this. I will jump to the next thing. Generally, compared to bar charts, candlesticks are considered to be great, but candlestick also has a limitation, and the limitation is the candlestick will never tell you the journey of the script. Whether it's created a high first and then a low, or a low first and then a high. Irrespective of these two cases, the candle looks same. So for a trader to understand this factor, he should go on a lower time frame. That is why we always insist people watch multiple time frames to understand the market behavior and the structure. And next important aspect is blending of candles, where this is the foundation for any chart. So generally what we say, take the open of the first candle, the close of the last candle, the highest high of the day of all the candles, and the lowest low of all the candles, and add them together to get a blended candle.
Okay.
When you see two candles, generally what happens, you might think something is bullish, something is bearish. However, after blending only, people would understand where it is heading. In our language, we call this as a ERC base candle. These kind of candles are always dangerous as far as stop losses are concerned. These levels hit stop losses very hard. Now, there are hundreds of Japanese candlesticks. I guess we all know Steve Nissen. Japanese candlesticks were born in Japan. Okay, it was born in ancient Japan, and the rice traders of Japan used it extensively, and it went to Americas in the early 80s. And the best well-known book is the book written by Steve Nissen. I think it's called Candlesticks Redefined or something. So a red colored book, it's just there on my left side in my library. Okay, in our price action world, sir, we see only two candles. Number one, it is a momentum candle, where it's a big candle with a very good body, a strong body, and the body is length of the body is more than 50% of the total length of the body. So most of the candles would be very clear. See, these are all momentum candles where the body is bigger, is more than 50% of the total length. A Mora Bazu candle is also a momentum candle. You get bullish engulfing. All these candles, so-called candles, they fall only in two categories. In my language, it's either momentum or no momentum.
Right.
The second one is called a base. This base is simple. The body is less than 50% of the total length. And these bases are the places where maximum fight is happening. So momentum is very clear, sir. Somebody is dominating. Either India has won against Australia or Australia has won against India. That's momentum. A green momentum or a red momentum. Whereas base, it's a draw match. Australia cannot say, boss, we scored more runs than you, so we won. Sorry. So the color of the candle is insignificant here because nobody has won. Your scores are insignificant where wickets are in the end of the day. It's a draw match. So, and all these base candles officially convey a message that there is a war. There is a tug of war between buyers and sellers, and that is why this scenario appears. And there is no clear winner. Whenever this length of the base candle is very high, that is when there is maximum manipulations. we try to avoid playing in such levels. We do not trade candles which have a very lengthy range. We prefer base candles to be cute, small, so that the manipulations are very less. The fighting region is very less. In my language, I tell people that a base candle is like a fort. Somebody comes and occupies a fort, they are ruling that fort. If somebody else comes and dominate them, destroy them, and those guys are the new owners of the fort. It is like defining who is controlling, whether it is Marathas ruling or Mughals ruling. That's all. And there are so many candles here that you see, and if you look at these candles, still there are only two. Either it is a momentum or a base. It cannot be anything else. And if you see two candles, you merge them, you will come to know. For example, sir, take this Harami candle, you blend it. When you blend that Harami candle, it is a base candle.
Correct.
Because imagine the open of the first candle, the close which is below of the next candle, it is a ERC base, which means an Harami is a cheater. This Harami is generally, people say no, it is bearish. No, I don't call it bearish. I call it manipulation. I think that is a place where maximum fishing happens. So next thing is, sir, generally price goes up and down. Okay, when price goes somewhere at the top, stops there, the story is very simple. It means that the last buyer was destroyed by the seller. That peak point is a point where the last buyer was killed by a seller, which means that point is important. Similarly, wherever price stops, it is a point at the bottom, the last seller was destroyed by a buyer. So the thought process here is, these levels are important in price action, and what happens at these levels defines our trading journey. That is the bottom line, and every line is important. For example, let me do something. So look at this. Among these three resistance lines, sir, which one you think is best resistance?
Third one.
The third one. Sir, no. I believe in the second one, because this is a significant resistance where after reaching that point, the sellers took the price to a longer distance.
They will be trapping the buyers.
So I believe in the total journey from the peak of the turn. So here what happens, here the journey is very lesser.
Okay.
So generally what we think, okay, this is like triple top 3 times, so this guy is strong. As I told you, it's like hitting a level with a mallet, with a nail. You keep hitting once, twice, thrice, that particular plate will become weaker. So for me, this is 1, this is 2, and this is the third level in terms of significance. And any significant level has to be broken, and once that significant level is broken, that's when we decide on some price action. Now look at this, sir. Now look at this, and look at this. Now see, this is a good level, very good level, significant level. This is also a very significant level. Now look at this one, sir. Look at A, look at B. Price did not move much from those levels. So since there is no big significant movement, you don't have to call it as an SR line. And you should not look for
minor movements.
Correct.
From every top to bottom, they are minor movements, not major.
So you should have an aerial view of the chart when you are deciding these factors, and people should not think, okay, every top, okay, last buyer destroyed and all of that. So then what happens, like this, it can create multiple levels, and every level is a resistance or support, but you need to verify significance in our language. And next one is similarly major resistance. A major resistance is if a price stops at a level more than 2 times, then we call it as a major level. So here it made a double top. So this one we call it as a major resistance, but again, what matters is significance. In the previous example, when we discussed, I did a level like this and I also did a level like this. And it's not about how many times it touched, it's all about what distance it created and how after killing the last buyer. That's what
After
is the
touching what has happened.
correct. So that's what we see, and such big levels we look for some action, and we will come to that action in the next step. So in price action, everything starts with breaking something. Everything starts with destruction of something. And what is that something? It is engulf. It is a concept where price closes above or below some level, a significant level. I will not say it's a minor SR or a major SR, it is a significant SR. And every time price closes above the SR line, that's when we say it is an engulf, and that is must for price action to take place. For example, this is a major SR line because it touched that point 2 times. In traditional thoughts, it's called double top. Now what happens? Price is going up. So it didn't cross that level. It didn't touch that fort at all. It is like somebody going to capture Kondana fort. If I look at Tanaji movie, now next guy went, he entered the fort, he was kicked out. And here he elegantly entered the fort, destroyed everybody and captured the fort. And this is an engulf. And whenever an engulf happens on a significant point, that is when we look for some special price action behaviors, some special manipulations. That is the thought process. Now, I want to teach a concept called a Quasimodo double cheater strategy today. So this is a concept where it creates liquidity for the institutions. Even if there is no liquidity, it will create liquidity. For example, imagine a way to capture a tiger. You will put a small lamb inside the cage and ask the tiger to come, right? This is like that. So of course, that is capturing a tiger. Here we are not tigers, right? We are deers. So capturing a deer, you need to put some carrot. So what happens? It's an interesting power pattern. So we'll explain how it behaves and how it cheats both sellers and buyers. It cheats both sellers, buyers multiple times and creates extensive liquidity for the players. So let me explain the story of trend, sir. We all know price travels in a zigzag manner. It never go in a straight line. And every time in an uptrend, it makes series of higher highs and higher lows that we call as an uptrend. At one point of time, it peaks and it comes and breaks something. When it breaks a higher low to form a lower low, that is when we say, boss, there is a prospective change in the trend. At this point, we can always say that uptrend is done. Correct, sir? So what happens now? The price start reversing, making series of lower highs and lower lows until a lower high is broken and the next trend is not defined. So at this point, a typical Quasimodo is formed. For example, after series of higher highs, it has to break a resistance, it has to break a support. Here, this resistance is broken to form a higher high. This support is broken to form a lower low. This is cheating 1, this is cheating 2. In such situations, you have the QM pattern created. And what it does, how it does, what is the inherent science behind it, we will talk in the subsequent slides. So where is double cheating? Sir, now there is a resistance. Whenever there is a resistance, the first guy who jumps to trade is a support resistance trader, correct? Because he is the first guy who picks a trade whenever he sees price coming. Let me draw it for you. So the moment this resistance is formed, so all the support resistance trader will take trades here.
Right.
Short, all his stop losses are here. And there is one more guy who is waiting to take a trade above here long, and below that stop loss. And all these are limit orders or stop limit orders.
Right.
And who is this guy, sir? This guy is a breakout guy. This guy is a support trader.
Correct.
So the stop loss of the support resistance trader is the entry of the breakout trader. So basically you are fighting one side, I am fighting one side. If you kill me, you are a winner. If I kill you, you are the winner. I am the winner. So basically these two people fight for domination, and one guy's stop loss is one guy's life is another guy's foot. It's like a food chain. So what happens now? Technically, when price goes up, the support resistance traders trade is, the short trade is triggered, and stop loss is also triggered. And when the stop loss is triggered, who is the corresponding buy? It is the breakout trader.
Correct.
His stop loss is other guys, because for every seller there has to be a buyer.
Right.
So when this guy enters, the breakout trader is in action, and he is in his own euphoria, and price then suddenly drops from there. And that is when both resistance traders and breakout traders both are cheated. Now what happens? Look at the bottom side. There is a low here. This is a support, right? So what happens next? These guys will think price will come. See, one is on the upper side. One is on the upper side. Now, on the sell side, both of them are killed, right? At this point of time, when price comes still here, everybody is killed. Now there is one guy, again there is a support resistance trader who wants to take a long here. When price comes in, he'll assume there will be a double bottom.
Yeah.
And again his entry is here, his stop loss is here. At the same time, there is a corresponding breakout trader who wants to short,
Below the support.
and his stop loss is here. So now what happens when price comes down? The first guy to be killed is a support resistance trader, because he is waiting for a double bottom scenario that never happened. Entry triggered, stop loss triggered, and once his stop loss is triggered, the breakout trader's entry is triggered right now at this point of time. And now what happens? He's happy. The breakout trader is happy. His trade is active, and then the price reverses from there. And now he is also killed. So there are 4 scenarios happening here. On the upper side, there is a support resistance trader who is destroyed. There is a breakout trader is destroyed. The support resistance trader short and breakout traders long. At the bottom side, the breakout traders short and support resistance traders long. So there are 4 different cheating that happens. So when this 4 cheating happens, it creates panic among the community. So when there is a panic, it automatically reflects in more trading. When there is more trading, when there is more mistake. When there is more mistake, naturally more stop losses, more confusion, and more losses. Eventually maximum liquidity that the institution look for. So this is the underlying principle of double cheating. With this as a foundation, I will move on to the story, actual story. So when this 2 cheating happens, one is this: the high is destroyed by the higher high, and the low is destroyed by the lower low. We say it is a double engulf and double cheating. And when these 2 cheating has happened, this is a point where I take a trade. This is my entry, this is my stop loss, and this is my target.
Right.
When both these guys fail, a price action trader jumps in, and there are many flavors to this concept. I mean, we are taking just the vanilla story in our conversation today.
Yeah.
All right. Now, sir, this is the anatomy of a QM. There is a high, there is a low, there is a higher high, there is a lower low. When this scenario comes, it is a typical Quasimodo pattern. The reason it's called a Quasimodo pattern is in Japanese it's called as henchman. Henchman is those guy who will be like this, twisted neck.
Yeah.
So this is neither W. People should understand. Many times people read it as either W or M, which is wrong.
Yeah.
It is neither W nor M. It is like this. It is like this. Because this peak is the manipulation. This is the manipulation, which
Correct.
comes and takes out and reads the stop losses of the opposite side. Now, when this scenario happens, generally what we say is, I want a zone here to be destroyed. This is the last demand zone which gets created. If this demand is engulfed downwards along with this low, there are technically two engulfs. One is engulf of the last demand and engulf of the next low, previous low. When these two happens, we call it as a very powerful condition, and we many times price has come and kiss this particular scenario. So this is a pattern which can give a minimum of 1:5 RR. Okay, 1:3 to 1:5. But one beauty is sometimes if price goes in a zigzag manner to the upside, we call this compression.
Right.
If the arrival is a compression, we take 1:10 RR also.
Okay.
But the requirement is I need this compression. If price comes royally upwards without any kind of a weakness, then we always only stick to 1:3 or 1:5 max.
Okay.
But whenever there is compression, sir, price will have a free fall. It will have a
Correct.
free fall. On this concept only, I think last year I gave a story on Bank Nifty. I told Bank Nifty can fall up to 19,000 levels from the peak that we saw. And some people trolled in YouTube also. Your number didn't come, price went up. And last year, in the March it came, falling.
Yeah.
So, and that's when the same guy buzzed, hey, dude, I'm sorry, your prediction worked. I said it didn't fall because I told. It fell because it wanted to fall. So basically, whenever this kind of zigzag movement happens, basically it is eating all the orders at every level. There will not be any limit orders by the institutions to fight that zones.
Right.
So that's when we trade that level. What we do is, the way we trade is, we take the high level as entry, the higher high level as the stop loss.
Stop loss, yeah.
And then target 1:3. That is the basic thought process. There are ways to make it 1:5 or 1:10 also, but they require many other scenarios to be passed. Vanilla, this is the concept. Now, here is the anatomy of demand. There is a low, there is a high, lower low, higher high. So technically you can make out there are two engulfs, and both the engulfs, all two people have been killed. Both the deers on both the side is killed. Now when price comes to the next low, that is the entry, the lower low is the stop loss. When that happens, we can look for a trade. Now,
Correct.
Many people look at this and say, sir, your story looks like head and shoulder. Your pattern looks like head and shoulder. So is Quasimodo head and shoulder are same? No, it is not. They're different. They have a story. So there is a high, there is a low, there is a higher high, lower low. This is a Quasimodo. High, low, higher high, lower low. Because we wanted both the engulf. Which are the two
prices
engulfs?
all over the place.
Yeah. High is also engulfed here, low is also engulfed. So this is a Quasimodo. Okay. Now, on the other hand, look at this. Sir, can you explain me what this is? What is the difference? Yeah, this is a classic head and shoulder, but can you observe the two engulfs here? Sir, this engulf is done. This engulf is done, but this engulf has not happened.
Exactly.
There is only one engulf. So in Quasimodo, 2 engulfs are must.
Okay, 2 on
Whereas
both
in
sides.
yeah, in head and shoulder, it is just a normal pattern. It just gives the shape of a human body. That's it. So
Okay.
there is no opposite side engulf. In the first scenario, both sellers and buyers are cheated
Yes,
alike. Here only one side cheating, not double cheating.
correct.
And the first case brings more liquidity.
Yes.
The second case brings comparatively less liquidity, and
Yes,
that's a
sir.
traditional pattern. So I would like to reframe the sentence. I say every Quasimodo is a head and shoulder, but every head and shoulder is not a Quasimodo.
Correct. Yeah, got it.
So that is the message here.
Yeah.
Every Quasimodo is a head and shoulder, but the converse is not true.
Yeah.
And this is how the pattern looks like. There is a zone, low, high, lower low, higher high is formed. The entry point comes between the low and lower low. When price comes there, I take a long trade.
Yeah.
The
And
same
this is
thing
of
holds.
positional, right? I mean, this kind of pattern might be forming on intraday also.
Sir, intraday it forms a lot, because in intraday there'll be a hell lot of manipulations. When I say manipulation, I'll give you a simple example here. What happens is in positional, I'm just giving you a hint. Okay, price comes, formed a base here, went up, came down, formed a Chotu base, it went up. Okay, in case of intraday, what it does is there will be extensive manipulation. The way it does is base, 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 base. You will not know where to trade. So everywhere price stops, everywhere base formation happens. So the intraday, particularly in intraday, you need to be little smarter. Particularly if people trade on 5 minute and 1 minute, it's difficult. But positional, people can pick very high quality trades, and they do fail. They do fail. I can say QMs have a minimum of 30% accuracy, but if they give RR, it will give at least 1:5 RR. Okay. Sometimes it gives kiss trades, pinpoint entry it gives because of its intelligence. But as I told, this is only one flavor. There are at least 6 to 8 other concepts that adds up to make it a powerful Quasimodo. So since because of the 1 hour limitation, I cannot get into all that.
Yeah,
so let me show how it looks. So this is the supply story as usual. High and higher high, the trade will come. Now if I look on a candlestick formation, there is a low, there is a high, lower low and higher high. If you look at it, sir, at the bottom you see a base where the body is smaller than. So the close of that body can be the official entry.
Okay.
This one. This becomes entry, this becomes the stop loss, and your target can be. And this is the whole reason why we say that this base should not be an extended range candle. The more lengthy is your stop loss keeps increasing.
Yeah, nicely.
So whenever there is an ERC, extended range candles, we always say don't trade.
Okay.
Don't even play there, because that's a point of manipulation. Okay, now I mark the levels, and when price comes there, I take an entry. And here is the entry, and here is the rejection. Sir, many times what happens, whenever price comes to a level and create a support like this, if it creates multiple supports, which it is a very positive sign for price action.
Correct.
You know why? Because the sellers are getting killed by juniors. It is like playing against India B team before you come and fight against India A team. So if you get, if the B team kicks you, you are weaker. When you come towards me, and then I'll push you back.
Okay.
These are simple enablers which makes the which brings more what can I say, sanctity or clarity or more confidence on the trade.
Yeah.
So for short, same story, price goes up, price forms a high, forms a low, forms a higher high, forms a lower low. At this point of time, I mark the high, I mark the higher high, and that's my entry, and I take a trade. But in case for some reason price makes another resistance below that level, expect this one to fire. Why? Because this enemy team has been fought with our B team. Our A team is still strong enough. They have not yet lost their energy. The B team has already weakened our enemy. And in case if price comes in a zigzag manner to the level, it means India against Zimbabwe.
Okay.
And if it is India against Zimbabwe, I always tell people go take 1:10 RR trade because the opponent is very weak. So like this, we observe the price action, market structure, and then decide, okay, this is the potential profitable range for this particular script.
Yeah.
All right. So that is in a nutshell. So basically, if I have to simplify the rule of the game, the rule is very simple. Number one, it has to form a high, it has to form a low, it has to form a higher high, and it has to form a lower low. And when this is formed, there's one thing that you can do, you can trade on retracement.
Yeah.
Or you form a low, then a high, lower low, and higher high. That is the simple structure.
Correct.
And generally, sir, QM is not a universal indicator that every QM works. As I told, QM has sure shot more than 30% win rate, but it is an art to pick the good PM. Sir, apple is good for health. So just because apple is good for health, you can't pick all the apple in the mango store, I mean fruit stall. You choose, right? You pick an apple, check on all sides, okay, this is good. Like that, you need to choose good QMs.
Okay.
And most QMs which happens at a significant SR line does very well. For example, I'll just draw something interesting for you. Let's say this is a support.
Yeah.
Price broke down. Price made a high, low, higher high, lower low. Do you understand this is a level? Correct? Whenever QM happens on the SR line, it is a brilliant candidate.
Okay, so the previous line which will act here.
Because most people, what they think, once a previous SR is broken, people ignore it. You know, generally, right? Old supports, old resistance, nobody cares. Most of the indicator traders, they don't care a damn about past levels. But
no, that's why it is said, and it is extremely important. I have read it many times that the memory of the market is far more than what you can see, and the market keeps those levels in mind. You might have forgotten them, but they are there in the mind of the market.
Sir, you should read this. There's the first book ever written, W.D. Gann's book, The Truth of the Stock Tape. He talks extensively about this concept of remembering the price. Market remembers the price concept. By all standards, that is the first stock market book ever written in history. That is one book which I literally romanced multiple times. So he clearly explains why price repeats. Because you might think, okay, this level is good, this level is bad. It is driven by many fundamental aspects. It's driven by supply and demand. You know, it's driven by limit orders. Many things comes into confluence, sir. So that is the bottom line. So this is one kind of QM, and the second kind of QM which is very significant is something like this.
More zigzag.
Which happens at a lifetime high.
Okay.
Such QM sometimes comes and give a kiss trade. Ashok Leyland has a Quasimodo. I'm waiting for it.
Okay.
Last year, Bank Nifty Quasimodo gave a royal return. Nifty Quasimodo did not work. Okay, and last week, in fact, Nifty made a Quasimodo, and that big bull, Nirmala's bull, destroyed that Quasimodo.
Okay.
And yes, so that's all part and parcel of this story. And best QMs appear at all-time high. It occurs after a significant rally and then do manipulation. For example, the thought process is the institution had a rally. They already made money. Now they want Bakras to offload the stock. And that's when they do this manipulation.
It's a form
And
of distribution.
Yeah, it's a form of distribution. In Wyckoff language, it is just distribution or accumulation on either sides.
Yeah.
And always we should look for fresh Quasimodos where price has not reached that level after the level is formed. Price should not go and trouble that point, because every time it goes there, it picks some orders.
Right.
And the candle, the base candle, it has to be extremely small. Why? Because the more lengthier it is, the risk is more. So we don't trade such candles. And many times what happens, sir, look at this. Give me a second, I'll draw it for you. Yeah. So now look at this example. So you have your level.
Yeah.
So now what happens, sir? Many times we think, okay, low is here, lower low is here. This is a cute QM. The moment price comes there, I'm going to take this trade and price will move up. But unfortunately, what happened? There are sometimes levels. So you need to consider that, because it is easy to, pick up orders for the institutions. I generally tell the story of Taliban, sir. So imagine an American army flight, a helicopter flying in the sky. There is an terrorist camp happening somewhere in the northwest frontier province of Afghanistan. 100 terrorists conducting a meeting. So they can see the meeting, they can throw one bomb costing $1 million and kill 100 people. Technically, the cost of killing a terrorist is about $10,000. Now imagine a notorious guy like me who doesn't listen in the classroom. He just walks out for a smoke. And he escaped that bomb.
Okay.
Did he escape from them? No. They can easily see him from the sky. They know him. But will they throw another $1 million bomb on him?
Waste of time. Waste of money.
The return on investment is 1/100th of what it had happened before. So basically, that is what I always tell. If you, many times people tell, Mera stop, it came and kissed my stop loss, somebody is watching me. No, nobody was watching me. I was just with all the remaining, huge number of fish together, waiting for the fisherman to capture. So if the fisherman should not capture me, I need to stay away from the crowd.
Correct.
If I am fishing, I'm swimming elsewhere, he will see me, but he will ignore me. He will not catch me.
Yeah, this is a very good statement. You should always be alone. You should never be part of a big crowd. Otherwise, you are a sitting target.
So generally, sir, I tell people, generally, so many people ask me which is the most favorite moving average. Which is your most favorite moving average? So people use 20, people use 50, people use 200. So I generally say use 21, 34, 55 and 233, which are typical Fibonacci numbers. Yeah, they asked me, wow, that's a great thing. Does it mean that these things work? I said, no. I'm not telling they are superior. I am telling you this is better than the normal ones, because there you have more liquidity.
Correct. Less people use that.
So this is less liquidity. Don't take the highway that everybody takes. Create your own way. So there are chances that you may win.
Yeah. So can we come to examples now?
Yep. So here is a quick example of a Quasimodo. So see, here is your high. I'll just pick. Here is your high. Here is your low. engulf here to form a higher high, engulf here to form a lower low, and not only that, this was the last demand zone, the last demand, which was destroyed by this bearish candle. See the formation, significant momentum drop, significant momentum drop. The fall is so massive, it clearly tells there is a strong, pending order, and price can come there and make a killing.
So this was a pattern which started somewhere in August and went all the way to February.
Now, if you are using a daily candle, use a 15-minute candle, probably it comes up early.
Okay.
Ultimately, time frame hai na, sir.
Right.
And the reason we take these candles, these patterns is big. Here, candles are very clear. If you go on a lower time frame like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, you will never see this. You will see a lot of zigzag.
Yeah.
It requires a bit of intelligence to observe it.
Correct.
And in fact, this particular Quasimodo, you know this, right? High, low, higher high, lower low. Sometimes it makes a higher high also.
Okay.
Which means triple manipulation.
Another,
and
yeah.
That will create another story. So here is one more thought. Okay, this is a high. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a low, higher high and lower low. Okay.
Yes.
This is from your investment angle or a long-term positional angle. Okay.
Correct.
But in short term, you can watch here only. Can you make out this?
Yeah.
This trade is already over.
Correct.
But only point is it gave a light fake out. This is the high. It gave a light fake out.
Yeah.
And these things are inevitable, sir. Irrespective of what intelligence you have, you can never say, you can never protect it. I think you saw my tweet the other day. So that is Murphy's law. So, we are very religious throughout our life in running our algorithms. On a very good budget day, we stop it. So, people say robots don't have emotions.
who switches on the robot? That's important.
Absolutely. All right. And this is another classic manipulation, sir.
Yeah.
And the beauty of manipulation is any manipulation which is instant, that is more powerful.
Okay.
Because it doesn't give, it goes, eats pending orders and drops.
Right.
So such manipulations you need to watch. And most important thing is it has to break a last demand zone. Here if you see, there is a rally, small base formation and then rally. And this zone also it has destroyed.
Correct.
So this is the 165 which I was telling in Ashok Leyland. I'm waiting for my shot.
Okay.
And people who are afraid of, people who are brutally afraid of stop losses and fake outs, we always say, okay, short a future and take a call or whatever to protect yourself. They can do that hedging also, right? So this is another one, high, low, higher, high, lower, low. Okay. And this is just a normal pattern. This does not have the engulf of the authentic zone. So this is not a classic Quasimodo, but it's just a pattern. So just to convey that it doesn't have that last demand zone being killed. The last demand zone killing means like killing the king at the end. Whenever you capture an army sport, you kill the king also, so that he or his children will not come back to fight this sport, something like that.
Correct, yeah.
And here is one example. So look at this. See this low, high, lower, low, higher, high. But it broke this level, cheated. Why cheated? Because of this Taliban. There is one smoker here.
Right.
So this guy is the root cause. So if you consider this guy, this trade is a success. If you have not, cheating.
Yeah.
So these are small things which matters in price action. if we can focus on this aspect, your win rate will go beyond 40. So these are the
Correct.
things which cut down your win rate to 30. I generally tell people, if you have not, the first thing that one should do is to take 100 trades and check whether you have won 30. So if you have
Yeah.
not won 30, why do you want to trade? You are not even qualified to take the exam.
Correct.
So until on paper you win more than 30 times, don't trade. This is my philosophy. And second, until your first lot gives a profit, don't go to second lot.
Yeah, of course, naturally.
Today I take a lot, I lost. Tomorrow one lot lost, I lost. Day after tomorrow one lot I lost. So 3 lots I've lost. Until I gain back those 3 lots plus profit, I'm not going to put a second lot trade in my life.
Correct.
So this is the win equity pyramiding that anyone should do. But as you know, most of the guys, they'll have an initial orgasm and they think this is market and it believes in me, and the final destination is well known.
Yeah, beginner's luck is very dangerous.
Extremely, sir. I have seen that in my life.
Everyone has seen that.
Sir, look at this. This is a risky guy. Okay. Why?
Mm.
Because of 2 reasons. Number 1, this zone is tested. Price comes down and again goes up here.
Right.
So which means it went to eat the orders. That is second part. Second thing is Taliban waiting here.
Okay.
And above that, one more classroom. Above that, one more classroom. So multiple classrooms.
Yeah.
So these are the things which will ensure that we don't miss on the right trade. And look at this fellow also. See, this is a very classic stuff, but look here. This is all compression. So this is what is Zimbabwe, sir. Where throughout it is compression, which means when price comes, it can break all of this and happily and then move up. So these small things really matter in price action, and that's what makes it unique. And this process is literally difficult. It's not like an RSI 30 or a moving average 20 or an MACD, because there is nothing here for you to play. You are just watching blind vanilla candles, and not even volume.
You need to get used to the pattern, and only after experience you can really trade it.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. And sir, this is how you need to mark it. See this? If you put stop loss here, you are killed.
Correct.
And unfortunately, here is the Taliban guy. So these things you need to be cautious. That's it.
Yeah.
And if price by any chance comes here and does this, and that is the beneficial. Why? Because B team is fighting and A team is waiting.
Correct.
So I told the concept of A team, B team.
Yeah.
So this is a classic and beautiful QM. I always prefer to trade these kind of things. I don't care if it fails, but I always love to trade these kind of things where it is a very, very clean QM. See, it's a very fresh zone, seeing quick manipulations, and you see this, sir. This is all compression, sir.
Yeah.
And like this, if it comes up, my target is always this, sir. It will come, sir. Sir, 9 out of 10.
You have some kind of scanning capability, or it's all visual observation?
I have a tool only for QM. I mean, there are about 6 to 8 patterns in these kind of price action stories, but QM is a method which can be easily identified through a scanner. I have a scanner for QM because I have an indirect way to identify a QM. So QM is one thing I have created a scanner in AmiBroker, but rest is very, very difficult because these are brutally visual in nature.
Yeah, of course.
All right, and look at this. Can you make out this? See there?
Yeah.
See the higher high, it just went higher high by 1 point. 1960, 1964.
Correct.
4 points. Imagine how many people are suffering here.
Yeah.
See, imagine how many breakout traders died here.
Yeah.
That is the point. Ultimately, the pain of the opponent is the pleasure of the player.
Absolutely, no doubt.
More pain those guys take, the more pleasure you would get if you trade opposite.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
that's the story for today. It's one of the very powerful pattern, and sir, in English it is called as over and under pattern
Okay.
because it
So it's
gets
a
cheated on
throw
both
over.
sides.
Yeah. It's got a throw over, right?
Yeah, so that's why we call it as double-ended cheater.